Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Saratoga Racecourse here on Saturday. It is August 25th, 2018. It's Travers Day from Saratoga, and I'm going to look at all the stakes races on today's program. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world. Excellent card of racing today from Saratoga. Going to look at all the stakes races, including the Travers. The races I'll be looking at, all stakes races, basically races 6 through 12. So we have about 7 races to look at, so let's get to it. Starting off with race number 6, the sixth race. It's the Gherkin Stakes, formerly known as the King's Bishop. It's a grade 1 race going for a purse of $500,000. This race is for 3-year-olds only. Field of 9 horses going to the post, a distance of ground of 1,400 meters if you want to go by that, or the distance of ground of 7 furlongs on the Saratoga main track. 1,400, 7 furlongs. I show the diagram, just gives me a second to look down my notes, just bear with me. Sorry, I'm stupid, I can't do two things at the same time. My top selection here, I'm going to go to the inside, to the 2-horse Telekinesis. I'm going to go 2-3-1-8 in the superfecta, 2-3-1-8 super. To the multi-race now, I would go 2-3-1. I think it's a 3-horse race between those two, but my top selection here is the 2-horse Telekinesis, 3-year-old colt by Go Zapper. Javier Castellano gets the mount on this one for Marcassi. This horse is most recent outing came the 30th of June. That came at Woodbine, a mile and a quarter in the Queen's Plate. This horse finished 5th by 9 lengths. From the beginning, went straight to the lead, and then this horse just couldn't keep the distance. Weakened out of it. It wasn't the day to win, but I think the cut back to 7, which I think this horse is a better distance for this one. I just think this horse should run a lot better. Before that, this horse ran at Woodbine, a mile and 1/8 in the Plate Trial. This horse did everything right there, won by 1 3/4 lengths, on lead all throughout, dueled a little bit, but he still had enough in the tank for the end. Good race for this horse there, off a little bit of a break. And then before that, the 14th of April at Keeneland, a mile 16th in the Grade 3 Lexington. Horse finished 2nd by a head. You know, he got caught by the closer, My Boy Jack, that day, but he did run his heart out on the front end. Like I said, cutting back to a 1-turn 7 furlong, he should really do well. He's been training well in the dirt. 20-1, it's a great odd on this horse, so watch out. When we get 20-1 at post time, I pray to God, or whatever you believe in. I'm not a really religious person, but hopefully we do get the 20-1 on him. But on a multi-race ticket, I used a 3-horse Engage. He ran a decent second place finish in the Amsterdam a few weeks ago here at the Spa. Finished 2nd by 3 1/4 lengths. If he didn't hit the gate out of the gate, I think he could have won. But he ran his heart out there. Before then, the Woody Stevens, he finished 2nd by 1 1/4 lengths, closing up well. And then he won the Gold Fever very nicely at Belmont, facing only 2 other rivals. But he's a quick horse, and I think he could do something on the front end. And the 1-horse Promises Fulfilled is a very speedy horse. It wouldn't surprise me if I see him go wire to wire here. He won the Amsterdam very nicely by 3 1/4 lengths on the lead all throughout a few weeks ago. Before that, he finished 3rd in Woody Stevens after just weaking out of it the final 1/8 of a mile. And then you throw out the Derby run because he's not a 2-turn horse. He's a 7 furlong 1-turn horse. I wouldn't be surprised if he runs a big one also. So he'll be definitely used on a multi-race ticket. The pick 6 begins with this race, so you want to go a little deep here. So to recap my selections for the 6 from the Spa, it's the Gherkin Stakes. Gonna go as the top selection, a 2-horse Telekinesis. Gonna go 2-3-1-8 in the superfecta. I'll go 2-3-1 in the multi-race. So now to get on to race number 7. The 7th race from the Spa, it's the Personal Ensign Stakes, grade 1 per $700,000. This race is for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 6 horses going the distance of ground here of 1,800 meters, if you want to go by that, with a distance of ground of a mile and 1/8 on the Saratoga main track. 1,800, a mile and 1/8. My top selection, I would single this horse in a multi-race, would be the 1-horse Abel Tasman. I'm going to go 1-6-4-5 in the superfecta. 1-6-4-5 super. A single in the multi-race would be the 1-horse Abel Tasman. 4-year-old filly by Quality Road. Mike Smith gets the leg up. This horse's most recent outing came the 9th of June. That came at Belmont, a mile 16th in the Grade 1 Ogden Phipps. This horse won by 7 1/2 lengths, almost out of lead all throughout. This horse had a major improvement run. It was everything, went right there, and it was all around good race for this horse. Didn't even get whipped in the stretch. It was just very easy. Before that, Churchill, though, mile 16th in the La Triomphe, a Grade 1 race. This horse finished 4th by 3 1/4 lengths there, and didn't break all that well. Had to steady a few times, and definitely, needed the race. It wasn't, the best run there. And then before then, last year's Breeders' Cup Distaff at Del Mar on November the 3rd. Horse finished second by half length. She just sat behind, she closed up well there, but, Forever on Bridle just got them, the kick on her, and she just couldn't keep up with them at the end. And then the Cotillion at Parks, mile 16th last September, horse finished second by 2 lengths. She closed up well after a not so good beginning, but she still didn't have enough to win. But she did win the Coaching Cup last year very nicely on this race course, closing up a little bit, but there might have been contact in the stretch, but she still got the victory. I like her a lot here today. Speed from the inside. If she wants to use her, or she could come from behind. I expect her to sit a little bit closer, seeing the way the track is playing towards front runners today, and sitting a little bit closer. I think she'll run well. So watch out for single in the multi-race. The Naira Bets pick 5 begins with this one, so that's a good, way to single. And in the pick 6, you can single her. So to recap my selections for the 7th from Saratoga, it's the Grade 1 Personalized, and as a top selection, I'm going to use the 1-horse Able Tasman. Going to go 1, 6, 4, 5 in the superfecta, single the 1-horse in the multi-race. So now let's get on to race number 8 from Saratoga. The 8th race from Saratoga, it's the One Ballerina Stakes, Grade 1, purse $500,000. This race is for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 9 horses going to the post, a distance of ground of 1,400 meters if you want to go by that, or the distance of ground of 7 furlongs on the Saratoga main track. 1,400, 7 furlongs. Top selection here in this one. I like the number 6 horse, the 6-horse Lewis Bay. Gonna go 6-2-5-7 in the superfecta. 6-2-5-7 super. Top selection, the 6-horse Lewis Bay. 3-1, 5-0 mare by Bernardini. I read Ortiz Jr.'s on this one for Chad Brown. This horse's most recent outing came the 8th of June at Belmont. 7 furlongs in the Grade 3 Better Roses Invitational. This horse won by 5.5 lengths. Didn't break all that well, but she stalked, got the lead, and took off clear. It was a really good victory for this horse. Her first victory in a little time. Before that, Humana Distaff at Churchill, wet fast sealed going. 7 furlongs May the 5th. She finished third by 5 lengths. She didn't break all that well, and that probably cost her the victory. And you had to be so close to this pace that day at Churchill. It wasn't even funny. And, she couldn't keep up with them there. And then before that, in the Madison at Keeneland, 7 furlongs April 7th. Horse finished third by a head. All out finish, a little traffic, but she had a really good turn of foot at the end. And then before that, she finished second in the Royal Delta at Gulfstream, and then won the Rampart off a little over a year layoff. Won the Rampart by 1.25 lengths on lead all throughout. Very good victory. This horse is 1-0 here at Saratoga. She ran in the test 2 summers ago, where she finished 4th by 5 lengths, but I think she was a little bit of an inexperienced horse at that time, kind of immature also, but she's matured a lot since then. She's a 5-year-old now, and I think she'll run a big one here today, so I'll use her as a top selection. And I think the 2-horse Ivy Bell's a horse cutting back to who's going to really run a big one also. Javier Castellanos on this one for China Horse Club and Top Hutcher. 5-0 mare by Arch. This horse's most recent outing came 29th of July. That came here at Saratoga. I'm on the 8th in the Grade 3 Chuvy. This horse finished 4th by 2 lengths. Didn't break all that well. Had to be rushed that day, and just never really got the good closing kick. It wasn't the day to win. Cut back to a 1-turn. Horse should do a lot better. Before that, Belmont, mile 16th in the Grade 1 Ogden Phipps. This horse finished second by 7.5 lengths behind Able Tasman. Able Tasman didn't have the whip in the stretch. This horse didn't, really couldn't keep up with her. It wasn't the day to win. And then the Humana Distaff at Churchill, wet fast sealed going. 7 furlongs February, May the 5th. This horse finished second by 2 lengths. Again, she couldn't really get that good closing kick. The winner, American Gal, just ran that little bit of better race. But 7 furlong, coming back to it, I think she'll run well. She's versatile also. She could set the pace, or she could come from behind. Here, I think she's going to stalk, which is, I think, a good thing for her. 5-1. She'll be definitely used on the pick 4, pick 5 multi-race ticket for me. Pick 4 begins with this race. It's $1 million guarantee, so make sure you play it. So to recap my selections for the 8th from the Spa, it's the Grade 1 One Ballerina. The Ballerina Stakes. Going to go with the 6-horse Lewis Bay. Going to go 6-2-5-7 in the superfecta. Go 6-2 in a multi-race ticket. So now let's get on race number 9 from Saratoga. It's the Forgo Stakes, Grade 1 per $600,000. This race is for 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 8 horses going. The distance of ground of 1,400 meters, or the distance of ground of 7 furlongs on the Saratoga main track. 1,400, 7 furlongs. And a little bit of a shout out. My, may he rest in peace. My grandfather favorite race of the year was always the Forgo. I always had, always hit this race for some reason, and he just always loved it. This race is in memory of him in my eyes, shall we say. But my top selection, let me see if I could keep the streak going. My top selection here in the Forgo, very good race. I'm going to go to the 8-horse City of Light. California Invader should really do well here. I'm going to go 8-2-6-1 in the superfecta, 8-2-6-1 super. To the multi-race, I'm going to go 8-2. I think it's those two that are going to really run big ones here, and we have to spread out in the next two races because they're very wide open. So 8-2, that's where I'm going to pare it down to this one. But my top selection, 8-horse City of Lights, 4-year-old colt by Quality Road. Irad Ortiz Jr. is on this one for Michael McCarthy. Irad Ortiz is very loaded on this card, let me say that for sure. This horse hasn't been seen since 26th of May. That came at Santa Anita, a mile and a quarter in the Hollywood Gold Cup at Santa Anita, what the fuck they call that race. This horse finished third by 5.5 lengths there. He just got beat by Accelerate, who just ran a little bit of a better race on the front end. This horse, he just couldn't keep up with them. But I think this horse is a better miler, or a 7 furlong kind of horse. He's getting it today, and I just think he'll run a lot better. Before that, this horse ran the Oaklawn Handicap at Oaklawn, a mile and 8th, April the 14th. Horse won by a neck. He closed up well from a wide post draw, and he got there from the back of the pack. Good victory there for this one. And then the Triple Bend at Santa Anita, 7 furlongs, March the 10th on Big Cap Day. Remember this race so clearly. This horse won by 1.5 lengths. He stalked, got the lead, and then he took off clear. Very good victory there for this one. And then before that, he won the Malibu by 2 lengths on lead all throughout, upsetting at 7.5 to 1. Cut back to 7. Should really do this horse wonders. Been training well on the West Coast. Gets leading rider Irad Ortiz up. Watch out for him to run a big one. I think the 2-horse Awesome Slew is going to run a big one also. He's been, he hasn't won in quite a while since early 2017, or shall I say, actually end of 2017, shall we say. He hasn't won in quite a while, but he's due for a good race, and I think he'll do it here. He's 10 to 1. John Velasquez on this one for Mark Cassie. His most recent outing came in a lounge race here at the Spa, 7 furlongs, July 21st. He finished third by 3.5 lengths. He closed up well from the back of the pack. It wasn't a bad race, but he's going to have to save a little bit more ground to win here. Before that, at Belmont, 1 mile in the Met Mile, he finished 8th by 8 lengths. The Met Mile, the last few years, have been great running. This year, another great running. A lot better quality horses in that race than this one today. He just couldn't keep up with them with the wide poster. It wasn't the day to win. And then the Churchill Down Stakes at Churchill, 7 furlong slop, May the 5th. He finished third by a neck, closed up well from the back of the pack. One of the few closers that ran on that card at Churchill. He just missed, but he ran his heart out there. And then before that, in the Carter Handicap here in New York at Aqueduct, my local track, this horse finished second by 6.5 lengths behind Army Mule. This horse, again, he closed up well. It was going to catch Army Mule, who put on a show, but this horse, was second best. His last victory came the ACAC last fall at Churchill, winning by a length, closing up well, and he finished, and Awesome Slew finished second in this race last year by 4 lengths behind DeFrong. This horse closed up well again last year. It wasn't a bad race. If there's a pace meltdown, you could see him at the end, 10 to 1. I think he's sitting on a good race, been training well. Watch out for him. So to recap my selections for the 9th from Saratoga, it's the Grade 1 Forgo Stakes. Gonna go with the 8-horse City of Light. Gonna go 8-2-6-1 in the superfecta. I'll go 8-2. So now let's get on to today's 10th race from race number 10 from Saratoga. It's the Sword Dancer Stakes, Grade 1, purse $1 million. This race is for 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 10 horses going on the turf course. The distance of ground of 2,400 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/2 on the inner turf course. 2,400 meters, 1 mile and 1/2. Great preparation for the Breeders' Cup Turf coming up in about 2 months' time, something like that. My top selection here in this very wide open race, I'm actually going to go 5 deep on the multi-race pick 4. Top selection here, gonna go to the 6-horse, a bigger picture. Gonna go 6'10", 7'2", 6'10", 7'2" super. Now to the multi-race pick 4, pick 5, whatever I decide to play. It's probably going to be the pick 4, not the pick 5, but I'm gonna go 6'10", 7'2", so 6'10", 7'2", in the multi-race pick 4. But my top selection is 6-horse, bigger picture, 7-year-old gelding by Badge of Silver. Irad Ortiz Jr. is on this one for Mike Maker. The horse's most recent outing came here at the Spa. Soft ground, July the 28th, the Monterey's Inner Turf Course in the Bowling Green. This horse finished fourth by length, a little bit wide, but he did have a decent turn of foot at the end from the back of the pack. Wasn't a bad race there. Before that, a few weeks earlier in the United Nations at Monmouth, Monterey, June the 30th, horse finished third by 2 lengths, and he had a little bit of a trouble trip, but he had again a decent turn of foot. It wasn't a bad race. And then before that, Belmont, a mile 3/8 on the inner in the Man of War. He finished seventh by 5 lengths. That turf course is too speed, the inner turf at Belmont. This horse just didn't have it, and he just couldn't keep up with them, and it wasn't the day to win there from the back of the pack. But before that, this horse won the Connolly at Sam Houston very nicely, going a mile and a half, and then finished third in this race last year by a half length, closing up well from the back of the pack, where he actually closed up from the back of the pack, had the lead, then got caught right the wire by Sadler's Joy. He's running back in this one, so it was a weird race, but I like him a lot here today at 8-1. I think he's a lot better horse than he was last year. Watch out for him to run a big one. I think the 10 horse, Sadler's Joy, is another horse you want to really use on your tickets. 7-2, 5-year-old horse by Kitten's Joy. Javier Castellano picks up the mount for Tom Albutrani. This horse ran in the local prep race for this race, Bowling Green, a few weeks ago here at Saratoga. Mile 3/8 on this turf course. Horse finished third by a half length. A little bit wide, but he was coming up at the end from the back of the pack. Wasn't a bad run. Before that, in the Manhattan at Belmont, mile and a quarter inner turf course, his numbers on the inner turf course at Belmont are, disgusting. He doesn't do well there because it's a speed-orientated turf course, but that was probably his best race. He finished second by a neck, just missing at the end. Spring Quality just had the jump on him, who closed up well, but this horse, he ran his heart out there. Definitely his best race on that course. And then before that, the Man of War, he finished second by a half length, a little bit wide, but still, you want speed horses on that turf course. This horse just really couldn't get to it at the end. Before that, fourth in the Pan American, where he didn't run that well, but he won the McDermott very nicely at Gulfstream by 3/4 length, closing up well from the back of the pack. Great ride by Julien Leperoux that day also. He's running this race last year where he won it by a half length, closing up well after not the best beginnings. I think he's going to run well again here today. 7-2. Use him on your multi-race. I know I am. Another horse you want to use here also is going to be the 7-horse Channel Maker. This 4-year-old gelding by English Channel, who's always been one of my favorite horses. Joel Rosar's on this one for Belmont. Again, this horse came out of the local prep race, at the Bowling Green here at Saratoga a few weeks ago. Monterey's soft ground. This horse won by half length. He's had a lap closer than most of the other horses. He waited, got through, and he got there at the end. Good victory for this horse. Before that, in the Manhattan, this horse finished 8th by 1.5 lengths. It was an all-out finish that day with a little bit of a pace meltdown. He closed up well, but he's still 8th. And then before that, in the Turf Classic at Churchill, Monlaith on yielding ground, horse finished 5th by 6 lengths. The distance I don't think was to his liking. He likes a little bit of a stayer's mile and a half, mile 3/8 distance, which he's getting today. I think he'll run well, so watch out for him. Another horse I'm using on the multi-race is going to be the 2-horse Spring Quality. 4-1, Grand Motion trains this one. Edgar Prado comes in for the mount, the veteran. Before I get onto this horse, Edgar Prado is probably one of the nicest jockeys in the world. I have to say that. Hands down the nicest. Years ago going to Belmont, if you've ever been to Belmont, in the first floor, the jockeys and the horses go through the basically walk through the building to get to the track or to the paddock, and after the races the jockeys walk through, and always going with my grandfather there. Edgar Prado would always stop, take a picture, sign my order, sign my program, give me a pair of goggles. Probably have a bunch of pairs of goggles from him somewhere. Once he gave me the stick, the whip, and it was great. So Edgar Prado, nicest guy ever, but I would love this for him to win this race, and I think he's loaded with this one. This horse had a coming out party a few months ago at Belmont, mile and a quarter in the Manhattan. This horse won by a neck, and from a wide post draw, closed up well. He got there in the end. Great run for this horse. He was 8 wide, but he still got the victory. Before then, the Fort Marcy at Belmont, mile the 8th, May the 5th. He finished second by 3/4 length, a little bit wide, but he ran well there, sitting a little bit closer. And then the Rid Smith at Aqueduct, mile 3/8 inner turf course last November. Horse won by a half length, 12-1. He upset. Good race. He's going to like the distance. He has a good post draw. He's versatile. He come from farther behind or you could set the pace, or you could set a little bit closer to the pace, not set it, but I think 4-1 a horse you definitely want on your ticket also. And I'll also use the 4-horse High Happy on my ticket, 6-year-old horse by Pure Prize. John Velasquez on this one for Top Pletcher. This horse, again, like a lot of the horses, ran the Bowling Green a few weeks ago here, where he finished 6 by 8 lengths, stalked early, and then he just hit the wall, couldn't keep up with them. First race in a little bit, maybe he needed the race, but it's just a weird race. He's the ground was soft that day also, so maybe he didn't like the soft ground. I think today with the drier, firm ground, he should do a lot better. Before that, Belmont, firm ground, a mile and a quarter in the Manhattan. This horse finished third by half length. A little bit of an all-out finish. Had the lead. Looked like he was going to win, but then Spring Quality and Sailor's Joy got to him. He ran his heart out there. Before then, the Man of War, this horse won by half length. The ground was good, but it's on the softer side of good, which he doesn't normally like, but he still got with a speed-oriented turf course, he took advantage of it, stalked early, and got there in the end. Good race for this horse, and then he won the Pan American very nicely in his first North America win the Pan American by 2 3/4 lengths, closing up well. Good race for this horse. You like the distance, sitting a little bit closer, 6-1, another horse you definitely want on your multi-race ticket. So to recap my selection for this 10th from Saratoga, it's the very wide open Grade 1 $1 million Sword Dancer, top selection, like the 6-horse, a bigger picture. I'm going to go 6, 10, 7, 2 in the superfecta. In the multi-race now, pick 4, I'll go 6, 10, 7, 2, 4. 6, 10, 7, 2, 4. So basically, we're just going to add the 4 onto the super. So now let's get on to today's featured 11th race. Race number 11 from Saratoga. It's the feature race of the summer from the spa. It's the Travers Stakes, Grade 1 purse, $1.25 million. This race is for 3-year-olds here, the Midsummer Derby. Field of 11 horses going the distance of ground of 2,000 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/4, the classic distance on the Saratoga main track. 2,000 meters, 1 mile and 1/4. Top selection in the Travers, very wide open race. I'm going to go to the number 2 horse, Wonder Godot. Going to go 2-9-8-5 in the superfecta, 2-9-8-5 super. To the multi-race, it's going to cost you a $40 pick 4 play, and I'm going to go 4 deep in this one. I'm going to use the 2 horse, Wonder Godot. I'm going to use the 9 horse, Good Magic. I'm going to use the 8 horse, Mendelssohn on the pick 4, and I'll use the 5 horse, Vino Rosso on the pick 4 also. So 4 deep, I'll talk about all of them. Starting off with my top selection of 2 horse Wonder Godot, 3-year-old filly by Medaglia de Oro. Irad Ortiz Jr.'s on this one for Mark Cassie. Like I said, Irad is very loaded on this race, on this card at Saratoga. Wonder Godot, her most recent outing came in the Prince of Wales at Fort Erie a few weeks ago. Sloppy Seals going, mile 3/16, July 24th. Horse won by 5 3/4 lengths, and that day changed the tactics up, went straight to lead and didn't look back. On lead all throughout, 40 cents a dollar. She beat the boys. A very good race for this horse. Before that, in the Queen's Plate at Woodbine, mile and 1/4, June the 30th. First time facing the boys. She won by 4 3/4 lengths. She sat back early. Great move around the far turn, and she took off. Very good race for this horse there. And then the Woodbine Oaks at Woodbine, mile and 1/8 that's PETA, June the 9th. Horse finished second by a head. She didn't have the best beginnings, was a little bit wide, but she was coming up at the end. She's a horse that loves this mile and 1/4 trip. She's going to get it again today, and I think she's going to run a massive race. Even with new rider Irad Ortiz up, like I said, I think this horse is going to run a massive race. Something to keep in mind with her, throughout all her fairground races, she just did not run on that fairground circuit. I just don't think she liked the course, but all her other races, she's run very well. The longer the trip, the better the horse. I think I said this a few weeks ago, the coaching club years ago was 1.5 miles. She would have really loved that distance, because she, like I said, the longer the better with this one. 5-1, great price on her. She's going to try to become the first filly to win this race in God knows 100 years or so. So watch out for her. She's a good post draw. Say she doesn't win. Just say she, doesn't show up. I think the 9 horse Good Magic could run a big one. He's 2-1, so shit price, I know, but he's done everything right. 3-year-old colt by Curlin. Jose Ortiz is on this one, the other Ortiz brother. This horse's most recent outing came at Monmouth, mile and 1/8 at Haskell. His horse won by 3 lengths. He stalked early, got the lead, and then he took off. A good victory for this horse there, first off the break. Before that, Pimlico in the Preakness Stakes, mile 3/16, May the 19th. Horse finished 4th by a length, and that wasn't Jose Ortiz's best ride. I wouldn't put that on the highlight reel. He changed the tactics early on that day to duel, and it probably cost his horse at the end. He just weakened out of it, couldn't get there. It wasn't the day to win. And then before that, in the Kentucky Derby at Churchill, Sloppy Seal going a mile and a quarter, made the 5th. Horse finished second by 2.5 lengths, a little bit wide, but he made his run there. It wasn't a bad race. And then before that, he won the Bluegrass very nicely by 1.5 lengths. Closing up well there from a wide post draw. And then he broke his maiden, everybody remembers, in the Brews Cup Juvenile at Del Mar last fall, going a mile 16th, broke the main by 4.25 lengths, quickened up nicely from mid-pack. A good ride there for Jose Ortiz. Since the Brews Cup, he's done everything, pretty nicely. A little bit of a wide poster, but I think he can overcome it. 2-1, watch out for him. Another horse, the 8-horse Mendelssohn, he's a wild card horse. He's going to run a big race or he's going to run a shit race. There's not going to be any in between. This 3-year-old colt by Scott Daddy. Ryan Moore comes in from the UK to ride this one. Usually, if he's coming over to ride this one, that means he wants to win, because there's actually a very big festival in England this week called the Ebor Festival from York, and if he's leaving that to come to ride this horse, that means something. Even though he's the regular rider, he still wants to win here. But this Mendelssohn, he's a decent horse here. He came a few weeks ago to run in the Dwyer at Belmont, 1 mile, July the 7th. This horse finished third by 9.5 lengths. Was with the pace setters early on, but then he just weakened out of it. Couldn't keep up with them. The one-turn mile's not to this horse's liking. This is a kind of horse he's going to love the mile and quarter. Those big turns here at Saratoga should really do him well. Not the one-turn mile. Throw that race out. Before that, another race you could definitely throw out, the Kentucky Derby at Churchill. European horses aren't really good with dirt. They're definitely not good with sloppy dirt courses. This horse did not handle it. Finished 20th by 7.33 lengths. He just a lot of traffic trouble and was done by the 6 furlongs from home. Really couldn't keep up with them there. But before that, won the UAE Derby by 18.5 lengths in track record time, on lead all throughout on a speed favoring race course. 106 Buyer. It was a good race for this horse. And then he won the Patent Stakes at Dundalk a mile last March by 3/4 length. Heavyweight again. Quickened up nice at the front end, good race. And then last year he won the Brews Cup Juvenile Turf at Del Mar very nicely by a length, closing up well from the inside. He's a very versatile horse. He could sit a little bit closer, which you need on this race course going 2 turns, or he could come from behind. But I think he's going to sit a little bit closer because that's what you need to do on this race course. 12-1. He's been training well. I think, like I said, I think he's a horse you want to put on your ticket. He's going to be the wise guy horse in this race. And I think the 5-horse Vino Rosso could run a big one. He's going to be the horse you want to have on your ticket just in case there's a pace meltdown, because he's a closer here. 10-1. Todd Fletcher trains. Rapolione. John Velasquez gets the mount. This horse ran the Jim Dandy a few weeks ago at Saratoga, mile 8, July 28th. He finished third by 3/4 length. He closed up well at the end. It wasn't a bad race, but wasn't the worst race either. It was an average effort. Before then, the Belmont Stakes at Belmont, mile and a half, June the 9th. Horse finished 4th by 3.25 lengths, and he was very wide there and just never got the good closing kick. They went slow that day, which cost him. And then the Kentucky Derby, he finished 9th by 10.5 lengths. A little bit of a turn of foot, but again, it wasn't enough to win from the outside post draw. But before that, won the Wood Memorial by 3 lengths going away, and then 4th in the Tampa Bay Derby off a little bit of break. He didn't have the best trips, but he should like the mile and a quarter. He should close up well here. If there's a pace meltdown, he's a horse you want on your ticket. That's why I'm using him here. So watch out for him. The 4 horses I have on this ticket, he's the one I like, the least. But he's still good enough to win. But a small chance, but a horse you want to use on your ticket. So to recap my selections for the 11th from Saratoga, it's the Grade 1 Travers Stakes. It's the top selection. I'm going to use the 2-horse Wonder Godot. I'm going to go 2-9-8-5 in the superfecta. I'll go 2-9-8-5 in my pick 4. If you've been following my pick 4, that begins with race number 8. It's going to cost you $40 for 50 cents, which is very affordable, and you're going to really make money with some of the legs. So to recap the selections for the Travers, race 11, like I said, 2-9-8-5. So now let's get on to race number 12. Race number 12 from Saratoga, it's the Ballston Spa Stakes, Grade 2 purse, $400,000. This race is for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 6 horses going to post a distance of ground of 1,700 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/16 on the Mellon Turf Course. 1,700 meters, a mile and 1/16. Top selection here. I'm going to go to the number 3 horse, Proctor's Ledge. Gonna go 3-2-1-4 in the superfecta. 3-2-1-4 super. Top selection, the 3 horse Proctor's Ledge. 4-1, 4-year-old filly by Ghost Zapper. John Velasquez gets the leg up for Brendan Walsh. Horse's most recent outing came 21st of July here at Saratoga. Mile and 8th in the Grade 1 Diana. His horse finished 5th by 2.5 lengths there. I had to, steady a few times and never really got that good closing kick. It was just a horrible trip there. I think coming here back to Saratoga again, hopefully with a better ride, I think this horse should really do well. Gets John Velasquez back up too, which, I think is a plus. Not to knock Jose Ortiz, but I think Velasquez knows this horse a lot better. Before then, the Grade 1 Just a Game at Belmont, 1 mile, June 9th. Horse finished 2nd by 3/4 length. Stalking early on, just missed at the end, closing up well. It wasn't a bad race. And then the Distaff Turf Mile at Churchill, 1 mile, May the 5th. Horse won by a half length, closed up well from the mid-pack. Was in the perfect, you want to be a little bit wide on that turf course that afternoon at Churchill, and he did well. He won by a half length, good victory. And then before then, Jenny Wiley throw that race out. He finished 8th by 7/4 lengths. Didn't have the best trips from the wide post draw, but this horse is 3 for 2 here at Saratoga. The only loss came in the Diana last week or a few weeks ago, but last summer won the Lake Placid very nicely, and won the Lake George last summer very nicely, closing up well. Been training well since the Diana. Regular rider up with John Velasquez back, so watch out for her. And I think the 2 horse Indian Blessing can run a big one, 12-1. This 4-year-old filly by Sepoy. Julien Lepose gets the leg up for Ed Walker. This horse is making the North America debut. Most recently ran a few weeks ago in England at Goodwood, 3rd of August. 7 furlongs in the Oak Tree Stakes. Horse finished 3rd by 3/4 length. Sat a little bit closer on the front end that day. Quickened up a little bit. It wasn't a bad race there. I think the extra furlong and a half should really help this one also. Before that, this horse ran in Germany at Hamburg, 1 mile in the Holstein Cup. This horse won by 1.5 lengths there. He sat towards the back of the pack, which, this horse sometimes does. From the back of the pack, had a great turn of foot, and he got there in the end. Good race for this horse. And then the Middleton at York, mile 5/16, May the 17th. Horse finished 7th by 9.25 lengths. This horse was just never into the race, towards the backpack, and, just never ran. And then before then, the Dahlia at Newmarket. Mile 8th, May the 6th. Horse finished 3rd by 7.75 lengths. Sat a little bit closer that day, and not a little closer to the back end, shall we say, and didn't break all that well. Just couldn't keep up with them. But the better races for this horse has been coming on the front end, not from the back of the pack. If this horse sits a little bit closer, I think she can win. 12-1. I'll use her on a small multi-race pick 3 ticket, or whatever I decide to play, double ticket with the Travers. But to recap my selections for the 12th from Saratoga, it's the Grade 2 Ballston Spa Stakes. It's top selection. Going to use the 3 horse Proctor's Ledge. Going to go 3-2-1-4 in the superfecta. I'll go 3-2 in a multi-race. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and also join me here on YouTube in the next coming weeks for some more Breeders' Cup preview day videos. You have some great Breeders' Cup prep races coming up next weekend from Saratoga. You have the Woodward. A few weeks after that, you have the Jockey Club from Belmont. The Awesome again from Santa Anita. It's just all around good racing coming up. So check me out on YouTube for that. Good luck, everybody, and let's make some money.